Where exactly did the false King Ghidorah come from, and what impact did he have on the rise and fall of the Titan population? King Ghidorah is one of the most mighty titans that the monsterverse has displayed, and is one of the very few that can challenge Godzilla himself for command over the titans and control of Earth. We know in King of the Monsters that Ghidorah was respected as the alpha in Godzilla's absence, and is something of a plague on the ecosystem, desiring to terraform the Earth to his liking. So where exactly does something this powerful come from? Well, fellow heralds of the Titans, let's explore Ghidorah's origins. One of the most unique things about Ghidorah is that he is not native to Earth's natural Titan ecosystem, and is something of an invasive species. This is why he is so particularly dangerous, because he upsets the natural balance of the Titan hierarchy, and has no concern for the structure and the world that has been built before his arrival. Unlike Godzilla, Kong, or any of the other major titans, Ghidorah is an alien, and in the original Toho comic line, he is described as being from the world of Venus. This is why Dr. Serizawa's oxygen destroyer had no effect against Ghidorah when Monarch attempted to neutralize the beast, because he doesn't run on the same oxygen that humans and the other titans do, including Godzilla. In the original Toho film Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, we get a closer look into Ghidorah's origins, but it's important to note that we don't know how much of this is canon to the Ghidorah that we know in the monsterverse. In the ancient past, the planet Venus was once home to a thriving ecosystem, and had a race of intelligent life forms known as the Venusians. For years, the Venusians lived in relative peace. But what's interesting about the telling of these events is that Ghidorah yet again came from the stars, indicating that his homeworld is not in fact Venus. In Venusian legend, Ghidorah was again an alien dragon who descended on the planet in order to conquer it. This means that in this film, he's neither from Earth nor is he native to Venus. In 3 Earth days, he laid waste to the entirety of the planet, which served as a warning for what could happen to Earth if Ghidorah was allowed to roam free and unchallenged. In the monsterverse, we haven't seen any firm evidence referencing to the Venusians, but since they were an ancient race of alien people who have long since passed on, it's possible that the inhabitants of the monsterverse simply don't have the means to uncover any evidence of this yet. Exactly how Ghidorah got to Earth in the monsterverse is currently debated, but there are a few theories regarding how he came to land on the world, and the most important factor is the details pertaining to his home planet. So far, the monsterverse has embellished ancient stories and myths, but has been relatively grounded in the world that we know, and for that reason, we don't believe there's any advanced society on Venus capable of building a spaceship for Ghidorah. If the Venusians exiled Ghidorah on some sort of vessel, then they'd likely still be alive to tell about it. And so far as we know, Venus in the monsterverse, much like in the real world, is a desolate wasteland. Some have theorized that Ghidorah going to Earth is unintentional, and that he arrived on an asteroid. The Showa version of King Ghidorah has various gravity manipulation abilities. This allows him to traverse space on his own, and some versions of Ghidorah are even capable of manipulating black holes. In the monsterverse, we don't see any indication of these abilities currently though. Therefore, the likeliest explanation seems to be that a meteor collided with the surface of Venus at some point in the distant past and kicked the debris into the surrounding space. Ghidorah was then hurled into the depths of space where he drifted for an unknown amount of time before eventually crash landing on Earth, where he found another race of incredible titans waiting for his rule. Once he landed on Earth 13,000 years ago, Ghidorah inspired several myths and legends around his existence, including the Greek telling of a 3-headed Hydra and legends of a rainbow serpent from the Aboriginal Australians. In fact, myths of a malevolent serpent figure can be found across different cultures and ancient religions around the planet, and in the monsterverse, these stories are attributed to encounters with Ghidorah, the one who is many. Once Ghidorah arrived, he wanted nothing more than to conquer the land before him. He felt no compassion or concern for the ecosystem as it stood, and even if he had to ravage the world around him, he would reign supreme over every living creature on this world. If the Venusian origin is to be believed, then he wants nothing than the utter destruction of the planet, though exactly for what reason is unclear. Titans have a specific hierarchy of predators and prey, but Ghidorah is neither. He is a virus. Eventually, the Titans of Earth called to their alpha in order to purge Ghidorah from their ecosystem, and Godzilla, in conjunction with Mothra and Rodan, worked to defeat and subdue Ghidorah. Their fight resulted in Ghidorah's supposed defeat, where he was left to freeze in the depths of Antarctica. There is even a theory that another monster was involved, and that it was actually Shimo who froze Ghidorah over. But for a full breakdown on this theory, be sure to check out our video on that as well, even though this is currently unconfirmed. And according to ancient legend, it was Godzilla who managed to trap Ghidorah and freeze him over. From here, we follow the events of the MonsterVerse films, even going back to 1973 during the events of Kong Skull Island. On Skull Island, Mason Brooks and James Conrad were debriefed on the existence of Titans, and were shown evidence of Ghidorah's first clash with the ancient Titans of Earth. It wasn't until the dawn of the 21st century that his body was discovered though, and humanity learned that whatever clash ensued with Godzilla didn't kill Ghidorah at all. Only now, there were very few Titans left to defend the planet from Ghidorah's wrath if he were ever freed. Most of the Titan population had died out over eons, and Ghidorah's return meant that only Godzilla and Mothra were left to fight off against this false king. Monarch, though, claimed Ghidorah was their greatest and most dangerous asset, and he was under constant surveillance for decades, knowing that if Ghidorah ever was to roam free, Godzilla and the other Titans may not be able to stop him a second time around. When Ghidorah was freed, they couldn't actually defeat him, and Ghidorah enacted the Call of the Alpha, which leads to the emergence of dozens of other Titans from across the world laying dormant. In just a few short hours, this army of Titans lays waste to dozens of cities, and shows us just how quickly Ghidorah could have laid claim to this planet if not for Godzilla's intervention. After Ghidorah's defeat though, we are shown just how resilient the beast is, and how nearly impossible it is to kill the false king. When he was defeated, one of the heads remained, and soon the head found its way into the hands of Apex Technologies, who managed to discover that Ghidorah controlled each of the heads telepathically, and that if one of the heads survived, Ghidorah himself was still alive in some regard. Used as a vehicle for Mechagodzilla's programming, Ghidorah's consciousness was able to break free and assume control over Mechagodzilla. This rogue synthetic Gojira once again tried to lay claim to the world, only this time, it was called for the combined efforts of Godzilla and Kong to finally put Ghidorah down for good, at least for now, although there are rumors out there that there is yet another undiscovered Ghidorah head, and if a single head of the tyrant survives, Ghidorah himself can return. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this invasive virus of Earth, and how extremely difficult it is to kill this false king? Where do you think his origins lay in the MonsterVerse, and will we see him again? Is he from Venus? And if so, is he native to Venus, or is he another murderer of all the Venusians like the original Toho films? Will we ever see Ghidorah again, and will he unleash the fury of an alien species on the Earth for a final time? Thank you as always, my friends, for visiting the channel today. Smash that subscribe button, and I hope you're having a great one.